Alright, so hopefully this is the last day that I'll be working on the bumpers and the bonnet. I ran out of paint halfway through last time, so I had to call it quits and order more. Pretty windy actually. Hopefully it'll be okay. I've set up outside just because doing a bit of concreting here. So you can see I've got the bonnet set up here, along with the bumpers and the fuel flap. It's warming up in the sun. It's a bit cold here, so trying to get a little bit of heat on it. But I've got enough paint and clear now, so hopefully by tonight this will all be fully painted. Then I can come back tomorrow and bolt it all back on. Alright, got the clear down. Actually pretty happy with how it turned out despite the complications. There's a few little bits in it, like it looks like a bit of dry paint, but that'll all come out quite easily. You can see there's still some dings in the bonnet there in the light. I didn't want to fill them in just because as soon as someone leans on the bonnet, the bog or whatever I use to fill them up will just pop out and it'll look real bad. So at least with this way, it only looks bad in the light, but I mean, it's pretty good. Just like that, rear bumper's on. Just sitting there loosely because I don't have impact beam behind it yet. Gotta go grab that, put that on, then I can mount the bumper properly. Now up the front, here it is. Pretty stoked with how it came out. There's a small blemish just up over here in the top layer of clear coat that I need to cut out, but apart from that, it's mint. I don't know if you guys are ready for this. It's just cable tied on at the moment, so it's not perfect, but check this out. Oh, how good does that look? Definitely needs those side skirts now. Super noticeable. See how low the front is. Get those side skirts finished, paint up, put them on. Oh man. Man, I'm a good painter, look at that. I'm pretty humble too. Alright, so we've got the side skirts all primered up. They're actually pretty good condition. There's just a few holes that I need to fill in. So you can see I used a white primer. It's actually meant for boats, obviously fiberglass. And it went really well. It's nice and thick, so I'll be able to sand it and shape it pretty well. But this is just sitting in here, no bolts or anything. And I mean, it all lines up, kind of clips in nicely. I use a bit of Sikaflex to kind of adheres it to the body better, but pretty happy with those. The end caps will fit something like that, but I need to figure out exactly how I'm going to do it. Got a bit more hot boy bling there. So this is a radiator cooling panel, whatever you want to call it, just tidies it up heaps. This is meant for an R33 GTR, And the GTR headlights actually have spaces that are about 20 mils long that space the headlights out forwards. You can see the oval shape there. The GTR bolt is actually back there. So whole front end's forwards as well as up on the GTRs. So what I'm going to have to do to make this fit properly is with some tape, I've just kind of masked out 20 mils and just got to trim that for the headlights, and then that'll bring this sitting down nicely, because as you can see it's just sitting on top of that. Makes it a bit high for this. So we'll drop that down, and then what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be 3D scanning the front and designing a grille to go in its place in there, which I'll be making. Well, that was super easy. Nice and easy to cut. It's just a single layer of carbon fiber with what looks like a fiberglass chop strand mat underneath, just for a bit of extra thickness. Got this beautiful glossy top coat on it. And yep, that's all trimmed now. Can't even tell. Looks like I bought one. So I think I'm gonna repaint this top panel because I scuffed it up and dented it a bit trying to fit this yesterday. So I'll scuff that back, and I think I'll paint it black just so it looks nice and neat through all these holes. Then I can put this on and start scanning. So I've cut the cable ties that were holding the bumper on temporarily. Now I have my nutsert gun, and I'm inserting a stainless steel M6 nutsert up. See there, and I've already put one in that one. It is a square hole, but it seems to grab on quite nicely to it, so yeah, just go around, do that there and there, and then same on the other side, and then I can just use a nice M6 to bolt the front bumper up. Basically works as a rivet with a thread on the inside so that you can run a M6. I'll be running a cap screw, but anything M6, just run straight up there, and yeah, great way to fasten onto thin sheet metal like cars. I've got a few of them around the engine bay. Alright, so front end is all back together. This is all now held in with nuts and bolts, and there's no floppiness going on there, so that's good. Painted the top radiator support panel. I ended up using wrinkle black just because that's all that I had. It's going to be hidden by the carbon fiber slam panel anyway, so that's all good. So let's put the carbon fiber panel on. And radiator brackets, we can go on. Alright, so I am in the app for my 3D scanner, setting it up to scan the front of the car. You can see it there. just try and get it as closely aligned to being square to the front of the car as possible. Just makes it way easier when I import it back into the software. So. So we've got our shift knob from Likewise finally arrived, drift button, adapters, stickers. I got some more thick gauge cable, just in case we need to replace any of the grounding cables or the battery strap or anything like that, as well as new battery terminals. I got some plastic to do the front lip on the front bumper. Wash bottle arrived, so this one's quite a lot smaller than the factory one. This allows me to run a catch can up the front next to this, so that'll be cool. And I have finished 3D printing my housings for the indicators. The indicators on it were originally rectangle. I suppose they were probably meant to go side there, just generic LED ones. I didn't like that on the front bumper, so I thought I'd do kind of like an adapter housing for it.
Do. Cool. So here's the shift knob. It's basically a weighted version of their Daytona, which is their only one that doesn't really look like a sex toy. So very heavy. I don't know how heavy, but I would say probably about 500 grams, like heavy. Ooh. So I also ordered this, which goes on the end like that, but first we have to take the spring out. Now the reason I ordered this was because it got me free shipping, and basically the cost of shipping was the cost of this, so I thought I may as well get something free out of it. I will install this, but probably in a later video, once I figured out how to take this thing off. Alright, cool, so it's a shift knob done.
watched one of Adam Alzay's videos the other day, and he was doing pretty much the same thing. I think it was with his E36, and he left the plastic on to dry as you would with paint, and then peeled the masking off. But what that does is it bridges the gap between the masking and the plastic dip, and then it just peels it off as one sheet. So what you need to do is you need to really wet out right along the tape, and then at the very end just peel it up. You can see there, that's what happens if you don't. Didn't let it wet out enough, so I'm going to have to remask that little bit and just do a bit of a touch up. But apart from that, it's turned out pretty good. It's about 5 layers on there, so it should be able to peel off nicely if I ever want to peel it off and redo it. Yeah, already modded that. Short throw now. Got the story.